by the stations of KUAM.
You're watching Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Exciting. We're playing ball tonight. Yes, we're out on the ball field tonight. We have, of course, Senator Tommy Morrison. Sorry, I'm mistaking you for Tony, your brother, right? Tommy Morrison, of course, a name synonymous with baseball. Willie Brennan, not only baseball, but also Guam Police Department, and now G4S. Gentlemen, you know, I had to ask you guys to come on because not a baseball player, but former athlete. But I know what destruction looks like, you know, regardless of whether you have a lot of knowledge of something or not. And you came out with Bill, of course, 120-33 as a result of actually a very successful concert. Not to say that we're not in agreement of that, but I saw, again, in my point of view, some disregard, again, to what was there as a baseball field. And great kudos to GVB, they get a great event and always have successful events. But the people who were ill-served after that is the baseball community and whose season just started. And the Paseo Stadium is one of probably a few public facilities that's probably the best maintained at this point. And now, I don't know when the baseball teams are going to be able to play in those fields. 120.
Well, thank you, Senator, for allowing us to be on your show. First off, just a little history on Paseo Stadium. It was built for baseball. I mean, during the late 70s, there was a growing popularity with baseball, with the Guam Major Leagues and youth baseball leagues, and it led to a demand for a new facility. And during that time, I mean, upgrades were made to the facility to what you see today. There was about $1.2 million put into building the stadium and designing it for baseball at that time. In the past decade, we've invested over about $1.2 million again to upgrade the lights, the field play.
Continuous upgrade, yeah.
Continuous upgrades. But what's always been the missing piece there is more stricter use policies. I've tried to do this even as a former director of Parks and Recreation, but there was always challenges to get through that with not only these other activities that go into play, but also even the sports community. So what I'm trying to do with Bill 120 is that our community, the users of the field, that would respect and use it as a guide to how we go forward using the facility, protecting that investment. And that's always the challenge. Putting millions of dollars into this, sometimes it won't last too long because of the constant use, the constant abuse, and there's no user policies, plans in place for that can prevent the adverse impacts of the facility.
And even as we speak to this, and really jump in at any time, please, with this, because even if we just said we can multi-use that field for other sports. It wasn't designed for that. I mean, it's not designed for football, rugby, or soccer at this point. So you really can't have it. I mean, in order for you to do that, you have to change you have to reconceptualize Paseo Stadium to be a multi-purpose or multi-sport event facility. Let alone, if that's going to be the case and you're going to spread that even more, to be a multi-facet facility that you can house not only, again, multi-sports in there, but again, as concerts, again, these big monster truck events as we see in stadium across the United States. But not only that, it is a facility designed for that with the expertise to be able to get, again, those field to, again, either a baseball field or tomorrow night a football field or a rugby event, a soccer event, and again a concert. And you could have 3 or 4 different things in one week, but you have to have a constant crew, right?
And I think, Jess, the main thing that we have to look at is when the field was designed, it was designed for baseball. And it didn't say Guam Major League, it didn't say Little League, it didn't say Babe Ruth, it was designed for baseball. They could adjust, they could change the dimensions of the field to accommodate the kids, the Little League, the Babe Ruth, and also all that. But it was just baseball. Because it was designed just for baseball, the transition from baseball to any other sport or any other event was never considered in the design. if that's going to happen, would happen in the future, which I think is something that is very, very good to have there, because real estate is so valuable, and right there's a huge place to hold venue for all these events. Then design it that way and include all your transitions that have to take place, the repairs after you do the setup and all that, but put mechanism in place to ensure that the promoter, the production staff, everybody that goes into it, the sponsors, say, okay, now we got to leave it in the condition it was before.
Absolutely.
And we have a timeline.
Like it never happened.
That's right. And we have a timeline. And if you have to incorporate that into user fee, then incorporate that into the user fee.
And most of the time, he's incorporated into that.
That's right.
I mean, and the promoter of whatever event pays for that, pays for that cost.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And you know, and I was, you know, again, until we spoke on this, right, in regards to other uses or limited uses of that, I was critical of that and said, well, you know, Senator Morrison went to the extremes. But you needed to go to the extremes to get that conversation, because now you got people sitting on the table to do that. And sometimes you have to kind of take that mile, you know, it's a half-mile run, but you're taking that mile, so you can do that and maybe come to a happy medium. And again, if it's going to be transposed into a multi-facet facility, maybe that's what you're going to get.
And that's what's happening right now. Bill 120, as you stated, it is the extreme, because it focuses primarily on just sporting events. But one thing I can say is, historically, all my bills have been tweaked. They found compromise at the end. And our goal is to bring all stakeholders of the baseball community, importing the sports community, these other activities that wish to hold major events in there, and seek a solution going forward. One of the discussions already, as Willie has brought up, is some of the reconfiguration of the field. At least right now, we know Festback's right around the corner. And talking with the governor and saying, you know, most major events even in the mainland, a lot of these heavy equipment, a lot of these things are transported through the center field area. Right now, the way Paseo is designed, you got to come smack through the field.
Sure.
And because like it's designed right now, I mean, they're from the corners, and so these equipments have no choice but to go through the middle. So just a little tweaking to the configuration of the facility can be a major solution. But even at that, even when we put this investment going forward, we still have to have this user policy in place.
No, absolutely. So, and I understand in the promoter's point of view, in this sense, you can contain your people. You know, you have that the fencing around.
Right.
You know, you can contain them. I can understand that. But again, understanding that, the promoters also have to understand what that field is for. As I said, it was built for a baseball. And, you know, again, over the years of renovations, again, whether it's mid-season, whether it's beginning of the season, end of the season, you know, a lot of times the baseball community have to suffer because, you know, it's never built on time and all that. We'll have to go elsewhere. So now something like this, there's no timeline on when the field will be rehabilitated and whether or not the teams will be able to play this season, the rest of the summer. Baseball, a summertime sport. We do it. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Willie, I want to ask you again in the reconceptualizing of Paseo Stadium and whether or not
Buzz with Jess Lujan.
We're back with Senator Morrison as well as Willie Brennan here tonight. Willie, in regards to reconceptualizing again the Paseo Stadium. Now, I'm just, again, a bit leery about the government going forward with this. I mean, just this morning we heard the speaker's address in regards to the next building we build. We have to really think about this because once we build the museum, we got to fill that shell. That kind of scares me that we're going to, again, look at the government entity to take care of baseball or multi-complex needs. Your thoughts?
You know, I have a vision, just like every other athlete that's been up from Little League to the major leagues and through coaching. We all feel we want to be in a position to give back. The game was really good to me. All sports that I played has been very good to me. I made thousands of friends on Guam. I made some enemies because they're on the losing side, losing team. I'm sorry if I knocked him down, but you know. But the bottom line is, I feel that I have to give back, and I'm very passionate about trying to give back in more ways than one. I honestly feel we had a bad rap. Baseball's had a bad rap in partnership with the government, and if we can just move forward and we put the right people in place, the people that have the passion for it, they have the integrity, and they have the marketing, and have the, you know, a big group of people that have knowledge on every aspect of how to make it work, then I think it can work.
Yeah.
And I think that group can design Paseo Stadium, leave it where it's at, rebuild it if they have to, adjust it, change things, accommodate, to be able to accommodate any event. I think there's an opportunity for everybody to be happy. It's going to take time, but it has to go through that type of partnership where there's a group of individual, a group of adult men, women, anybody that's passionate about the game or wants to promote or wants to be a promoter to make events down there happen the right way. And then that's the only way it's going to happen, because it needs input.
Sure. And you know, in redesigning, you may also have to incorporate Guerrero Stadium to be
Exactly.
one complex,
Sure.
one holistic complex.
That's right.
With multi facets, you know, events happening in there. And you got to think that way. You got to think that way. What is the best design, best use for that property down there, and how you're going to use it. And then again, the manpower, the expertise, because again, field management is an expertise, is it not?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I know you guys wanted to do a shout out for Mattel.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I'm huge on representing Guam. I coached the national team several times on island, and the greatest feeling in the world is when you play in front of 4,000 screaming Chamorros, Guamanians, locals, whatever it is. And I'm fortunate to have been able to play baseball in front of 3,500 people down at Paseo. And the feeling is unbelievable. I played football representing university in the Guam Football League many years ago against the military team. The feeling is, you can't explain the feeling and what you go through out in the field when you look around. And to us, 3,500 people is what O.J. Simpson, is what Joe Montana, is what Tom Brady plays in front of 70,000 people, because that is the feeling that we get that we'll never forget. And for those athletes to do what they did in front of 4,000 screaming Chamorros, local people, they'll never forget that.
Absolutely.
And I'm so proud of them. I wore a Team Guam shirt to represent. I mean, I'm all about representing Guam sports.
That's right.
Like I said, Guam sports, and any sport has taken me a long way, and I want to pass that down. Any athlete, keep striving, because when you get to that level, you'll never forget it.
And that's what I say again. You know, if whatever athlete, whatever event you're involved, whether you're baseball, American football, rugby, and all that, you know, you have to be involved. You have to care about your brother, your sister, whose field may be hindered in some way, because again, it's baseball today, it might be rugby tomorrow. I mean, we're so glad again that there have been private entities that teamed up with the government, okay, and it's taking care of the facility. Government basically, you know, helped donate the properties, and it's managed by the private entity and all that. And thank God for that, because you know, with that. But we have greater challenges. We have the village. I mean, you have some bills. You want to rehab village again, gymnasiums as well as their fields. You know, and but we need to come together in this, because you know, again, if we want to make it multifaceted, you know, we definitely have to invest in it. You know, invest in our kids and invest in our community, and to change down there down the Paseo. Again, reconceptualizing where we at in regards to that. I know you've been meeting with the governor's office. It looks like they're supporting your bill, and there's a way. Festback is next year.
Right.
Where are we at?
Well, first off, I want to congratulate you and your son and the players, the families, and the coaches, all that were involved in putting this event together. And at least for the most part, these athletes showed to our youth out there what hard work, dedication, and teamwork can do. So my shout out to them. Congratulations. Bill 120 right now is going through the legislative process right now. We are in discussions with the governor about, again, possibly reconfiguring center field in the meantime, while other ongoing upgrades are going on with the field and facility. So that's where we're at right now. I'm taking many involved with FESPAC representatives, the baseball community, all stakeholders that would like to come down there and take a look at how we can move forward with baseball, the sports community, and other activities to come down there. One thing I want to talk about real quick is sports tourism. And growing up in that field and playing in that field is one thing is that pops into my mind right now is how we were able to attract the Yankees of Japan, Tokyo Giants on there. If anything, like I said, I'm always about bringing life into Hagåtña. But there was a point in time where our #1 market, Japan, and driving that effort to attract Tokyo Giants into that field, seeing Sahara Hole walking up and down that field was amazing. I mean, it was just, it drew an entourage to it.
Sure.
But we need to get it back to that level where we can drive. If GVB is involved in this way, this is the area we need to focus on, is sports tourism. And if we really want to bring life back to Agana, not only through concerts, but let's bring back their heroes. Their heroes will definitely draw a large entourage here back to Guam. So that's one of the goals that I would like to see that stadium come to be in the future.
And again, Willie, you know this, we got quite a few of our boys and our gals that are playing collegiate ball. And some of them are playing either double, single, double, or AAA ball at this point. There's no reason why they can't make the Guam national team either, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's all about whoever's involved in whatever sport, going out there and uses the resources, social media, and finding these individuals, finding these athletes that are out there that can qualify on the GNOC rules and on whatever has to be changed, and let's change it. But going back to the sports tourism, I was very fortunate in the police department to have been involved with the Yomiuri Giants when they came here. I was involved for like 5 years providing security every year they came here. So I actually became very good friends with Sadahara O and Tatsunari Hara, the famous baseball players in Japan. So much so that when we went to Japan on the national team and UOG baseball, I made a couple of calls to the coaches over there, and we actually went down to field level to the dugout to watch a game because they wanted to return the favor. Yeah, and it was great, and it was fun seeing those guys. Baseball took a big turn on Guam because everybody was excited. We're going to learn from Japanese professionals, even though it was a different sport from the American sport, but still, it was just fun to be around them. The media attention was unbelievable. They loved seeing police officers with baseball players and interview police officers with baseball players, so even I got to be interviewed with them. But more importantly, the kids got to come down there and watch and look at these guys and say, one day I'm going to be a professional, maybe not in Japan, but somewhere, and it was important. I actually dreamed and aspired at that time, because I was still in my playing days, that I'd like to be playing like them one day, and I picked up a few pointers from them here and there, and it may be the person I am today. Unfortunately, my dream stopped after I joined the police department, but my athletic ability didn't stop on the Guam, and I continued to play. But yeah, whatever it takes to make Paseo. I will say this though, Jesse, when I was a kid growing up, Paseo Stadium was the Dodger Stadium, was the Yankee Stadium of Guam. We weren't playing there. We only could play there when we got to the major league level. And that meant when you were in the major league, that was the field that everybody came to watch Guam's finest.
I think prior to becoming governor, I think Joe Ada, Governor Joe Ada, I mean, he's a baseball player. I think he played Paseo Stadium as well, right? Yeah.
So that was the way it was back then. We aspired and we played hard. You know, internet was not a thing for us. That wasn't a tool for us. So we just said we want to play Major League Baseball on Guam. And in our eyes, Major League Baseball was MLB United States, even though the competition was far from that level. But we just said, if we can play in front of 3,000 local fans, to us, that was the pinnacle of our baseball career.
And actually, and I may not be mistaken in this, I think baseball was Guam's first sport.
Yeah,
right? Probably the longest.
I respect the game so much that I remember making the first All-Star team in Major League. And I sat the bench for about 6 innings, but I was just in awe sitting next to the players that I was sitting next to. I was just excited to be in the dugout with them. And that's how I want it to be. It's not, you're not a star until you earn your stripes. That's right. And you got to go out there, you got to pay your dues. But if you respect the game will be good to you.
There we go. And anybody who knows Willie, Willie's about winning.
I played under Willie. I had a great honor playing under Willie, and I know his passion to win. So, but he great motivator. And one thing he doesn't realize, I grew up going to the stadium with my father, and had a chance to watch in front of a big crowd, and seeing Willie hitting back-to-back home runs. The John Farnhams and all those big athletes. So I had an opportunity to grow up watching all that.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back, but I think we only have time to say goodbye. Be right back.
Remember those back-to-back ones?
Yeah.